You have been cordially invited to a world of wonder and intrigue, of steam and invention, of magic and mysteries, where nobles wave playbills at scientists who, deep in thought, nearly trip over pixies delivering news to tinkerers beneath the stage of New Europa. Sit back and enjoy the scene as the actors act, the singers sing, and the players play out the adventures of Castle Falkenstein.
Welcome everyone. Hi, happy Friday. Welcome back to the channel. This is Castle Falkenstein. We are on our third episode, correct me if I'm wrong. Third episode of our second season, aboard a train going ultimately to Bern. But we are right now going to Vienna. Correct me if that was wrong too. And we have uncovered a few things. We'll go through that during the recap. I am Simon at Wandering DM. Tonight I'll be playing Captain von Bront, the elven military man of the French Foreign Legion. And I have with me almost a full cast of wonderful players. Almost, I say, because Deirdre is not here tonight with us, but we have Kenny right down beneath me on the overlay. How are you?
Doing all right, doing all right. Thanks for the introduction. Today I am playing your spell slinger Clint Smolder, who is has some interesting eyes.
And we also have PB.
Hello, I am PB, and today I'm going to be playing Isolina Montiel Atenas, one part of the Lady Detectives, and I'm looking forward to uncovering more mysteries with my lovely new wife and these two dashing men beside me.
And as always, this stream, like every other stream on the channel, is sponsored by Mage Hand Press. If you go on their website at store.magehandpress.com and you use coupon code WanderingDM, you will get 15% off of any of your purchases. This includes Dark Matter, the D&D in space setting that they have, which is awesome, and that we stream here every Tuesday. Or Taverns and Tankards, their new book about drinking, waking up in a stupor, and other some fun activities that you can do at a tavern. Without further ado, let me introduce our host for the night. And I'm motioning with my hands like to my right, but like there's nobody to my right. Chris, how are you doing?
I'm doing well, thank you, and thank you to everyone that's watching. If you are watching the live stream, don't forget that we also have donations below you can make to alter how things play out. You can tempt fate. You can give bonuses to all of the players. You can even make some sort of dramatic revelation, which allows them to increase one of their skills from average to good. If you are so inclined to weigh in, go ahead and do so. Again, I'm Chris Geary. You can find me here every Friday as your host of Castle Falkenstein. Let's go to our recap, Simon.
Mm-hmm. All yours.
Right. Last episode on Adventures in Castle Falkenstein, the players used their powers of deduction to pull clues from the items left behind by the awkward antiquities dealer. From there, they made their way through the bar car, refreshing their drinks towards the rear of the train where the baggage cars were located. Along the way, Clint struck up some spicy flirtation with one Lady Maribel as part of his cover for watching the group's rear in case they were being followed. The other three made their way into the first baggage car to find a conductor rifling through what they believed to be luggage. Suspicious of such behavior, the group called out to him. When they made themselves known, the supposed conductor tossed a top hat at their feet, from which hedgehogs spilled out, and continued to spill forth from. A chase ensued, and both Captain Von Brunt and Clint tiptoed around the cute little creatures to pursue the fleeing suspect. The thief, masquerading as a conductor, locked the doors behind them as they retreated to the back of the train. Clint displayed mastery of mechanisms as he swiftly disengaged the barriers. Inside the second baggage car, the two found a safe room with valuables inside, all untouched, save for the torched door and one open chest. Hearing noises on the roof, they made haste to follow the thief up top, where a shootout took place, and Von Brent tackled the thief, nearly falling off the train. Inside the car, the Contessa, Esme, and Isolina solved the puzzle of the Top Hat portal, returning the hedgehogs whence they came, and closing the portal for good. Only Arsenio and Marcello Hedgehog remained in New Europa. The three ladies made their way to the back of the train in time to hear gunshots ring out. Clinton and the captain saved an artifact from theft, though the criminal escaped via a personal sail that harnessed the air and slung them from the train's roof. The two gentlefolk took an intimate moment to recuperate from the whole ordeal atop a moving locomotive. Once safely back in the baggage car, the artifact was identified by the Contessa to be of papal importance. The party decided to return to the sleeping cabins and discuss what might be going on and what to do next. Why was there a papal artifact on board without any Swiss guards? Why was the criminal so hasty to make their move and flee? What do these folded prayers that the party found mean? How did a portal to Hedgehogland end up in the baggage car in the first place? With those questions swirling about, let us rejoin our cast as they resume their performance upon New Europa's stage. But before we draw back the curtain and retire our sleeping cars, we will consult the fortune deck as we do each session. What do the cards have in store for our heroes? First, what might help them? That's where we begin. It looks as though we have if I can get it to show up on screen, there we go. We have a 4 of spades. The 4 of spades is the 4 is the card of balance. Spades is of intellect, communication, thought. A balanced mind can lead them to the answers in which they seek. What may hinder? We have the 8 of diamonds. 8 is the card of eternity, diamonds, health, and wealth. Eternal wealth, maybe. Large sums of money might be distracting. Who amongst us might get sidetracked by a horde of sorts? What might harm them? The Jack of Hearts, the eternal wooer, the new and spicy interest of one of our players might turn out to be a lot less fun than they thought. And that, folks, brings us back to the train, into the sleeping cabin of Isolina and Esme, as they sit with Clint and Captain von Brunt, and their friend, the Contessa, is not with them, having excused herself with the artifact for a clandestine meeting. What do you say?
So-
Well, now that we are here and the Contessa is off dealing with business, we should figure out exactly what happened between what we did down below and what you guys did up above. Though I do not need all the details.
I mean, a gentleman never kiss and tells.
Clint kind of looks off outside. What time is it right now?
The sun has set, but not that long ago. It was setting as you two finished up. So that scene where you're kind of recuperating, holding the artifact and one another on top of the train, the sun is setting very picturesque, highlighting all of your best features before you climb down.
The only way to do it. Clint kind of looks out the window and looks like they're just lost in thought a bit, and they say, "Someone's pulling a lot of strings. I don't like it."
I am inclined to agree. But it is interesting to try and find who is pulling these strings. We are on a train, which means our suspects are not many. And I'm not inclined to believe that this is the only person, or a thin man was the only culprit on this train.
Clint kind of considers and nods a bit, and then, but still looks uneasy. Yeah, the close quarters are good for hunting things out, but for an awful mess if things should blow up.
I'm with Isolina on this. Our culprit probably had some help aboard the train. I'd hate to think that they did all of that by themselves.
And even if they did, I do not believe the people who went through all this trouble to get this artifact onto this train would not have some sort of insurance in case of the failure.
Well, we had one person pretended to be an engineer, or at least a member of the crew. Maybe we take a full accountant of who all should be working.
Good idea. Maybe... Well, just maybe the crew lost an actual conductor in Barcelona who was replaced by our thief.
It's definitely a possibility. So far, the nicest person that I've seen on the train who works here is the barkeep. Maybe we go back down and have ourselves a small nightcap.
I wouldn't be against that.
It sounds like a plan. But first, did you see any sorts of markers or anything of interest on the man up above? Or are we as clueless about his identity now as we were before?
Chris, would I remember having clutched on to that person? Would I remember any distinct facial features?
From just your pure perception, which is, if you can remind me.
Perception is average.
Just from pure perception on its own, the cleft chin was noticeable. The dark eyes, which Clint could also confirm from when he had met Mr. Smith in the parlor car. And he was much more slender than he looked before. So those features aren't really super unique per se, but he definitely isn't just average, human number 5.
Mm-hmm.
Olive skin, dark hair, seems to, when you tap, well, no, that's about all that you'd pull off just with your base perception.
Okay.
If you'd like to boost that, you may. If you'd like to confer with Clint and try and say, oh, I remember this about him and I remember that, and try and piece through what was an act and what might have been real, you can work together if you'd like.
That would be, perception is a
Diamond. Yep.
Well, do you have any diamond, Clint?
Yeah, Clint has a diamond.
Okay, because so do I.
So does whoever has the lowest diamond place it, or?
Yes. If you're combining, it's whoever has the lowest diamond. This isn't poker, you could actually tell each other.
I have a jack.
I have a 10.
So the 10 is your lowest diamond.
So, yep.
And I'm actually good at perception.
Okay, so that's a base 10 for a 20 total, which is excellent. Excellent combination there.
I remember he's a good shot, and he knows how to use some intricate machinery.
Mm-hmm.
Was he left or right-handed?
He was right-handed.
He was shorter than what he made himself to look. Slighter of build. Did he have he was wearing the mask when I spoke, or when Clint spoke with him directly while he was pretending to be the antique salesperson.
Mm-hmm.
What color was his eyes?
They were dark. You almost, like a dark brown, to the point where you almost couldn't see the pupils.
So not wearing contact lenses. Actually, I don't think contact lenses would have been invented at that time.
Not that you know of.
Yeah.
When we saw him on top of the train, did he have any distinguishing marks or anything that might give away?
An alliance, maybe?
Yeah.
Now that he wasn't, well, he was different. Well, no, at this point, he wasn't in a costume whatsoever. He had shed both of his costumes. You will have remembered that he was in a very plain but sleek black suit. Not form-fitting per se, but very easy clothing to slide under other clothes. And von Brunt, you would have noticed, because of your military experience, there was a label, and you don't remember the name on the label, but you do remember the insignia, and it incorporated the Prussian royal house.
Oh.
So at least the clothing itself was Prussian and tailored for this individual.
Prussian, tailored, and bearing the mark of the royal family.
The label had some is using that symbolage, whether or not it means that he too is connected, or just the tailor might be the tailor connected to the royal house.
Which, I mean, there mustn't be 500 of these tailors. Not that we'd have any means of contacting them from the train.
No, but it is valuable information to have. Even when discussing with other people on the train.
I'm new to this continent, but Prussia's a little far from Italy, isn't it?
But the Prussians, they are up to some things in these times. It is why it is such an interesting time to take a trip over here.
Yes.
So many strings.
So many strings to see where they are connected.
Clint again looks uncomfortable. And starts maybe getting a little antsy. I think I'm ready for that drink.
We'll lead the way. I'll be right behind you.
All right. So, Clint kind of ducks out into the hallway. He's not hurrying per se, but he's deep in thought. He's walking.
Okay. Iselina, what are you and Esme doing?
I mean, I don't think we have anything of interest to do aside from going to the car also for some drinks. So probably just going off, continuing on the adventure. Forward to the for the wine. Mostly for the wine.
While you were inspecting or had the different items or discussing, as you're walking back towards the bar car, Esme will kind of lean in and say, there's some sort of residue that I could smell inside that cane. Something smells chemical, like you'd burn with. Maybe gunpowder, but no, because the gun wouldn't have fit in there.
Inside the cane, you said, right? Interesting. Some sort of something you think would propel something out? Or or a
So-
storage pile?
I don't know. I'd have to take a look at it a little closer. But I don't know. It might have been whatever they used to burn through that door.
Oh no, that is interesting. And Van Brandt has the cane at the moment, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
I'd assume during all that time you guys were kind of sharing and looking at different things together.
Mm-hmm.
Well, have I heard Esme say that?
It's possible. I mean, absolutely. It depends on what actions you'd want to take. So, and you said you were at the back of the group following.
Well, I was in back of Clint, so I'd be between Clint and Iselina,
Oh, okay.
I guess.
Yeah.
So I can just turn around and say, well, if you want the cane, I have it right here. I haven't smelled anything on the safe. Mind you, I didn't smell the safe.
Well, the door was also open and wind was rushing by and
There were other preoccupations you had, Van Brandt.
I always have a lot of preoccupations.
that you do. She'll take the cane and kind of study it as you're walking. And you'll see her pull a kerchief from what do they call the little bag that you can, it's like a purse. At that time period, it's a drawstring bag that they carry on their wrist. I'm missing the word I'm looking for.
Oh,
But-
I thought you were talking about the chain thing.
No.
I know what you're talking about. I only have purse in my head.
Yeah. So from basically a small little
Satchel.
purse, and she'd pull out a handkerchief and she'll kind of stuff it down inside the cane a ways and fiddle with it for a bit as you walk. You guys get to the first parlor car, and there's a few people sitting around. But nothing out of the ordinary. Is anybody looking around with a more heightened sense of what's going on?
I am.
Okay. I'm assuming Clint is also keeping apprised of things at the front.
Yeah, not spending extra effort though. They're kind of, or he's kind of in his head.
Okay. Oh, fair enough. So, Iselina, for sure, you would pick up on knowing what your base perception is. There's someone that you hadn't seen before, and you've passed through this car a number of times due to, well, where your sleeping car is located. A woman with vibrant red hair that seems relatively new. You'll also have noticed that the other people in here are solitary but content. Not necessarily odd per se, but a lot of times when you walk, people are either talking to one another or reading something, but they seem to just be sitting there and like looking out the window or maybe taking a nap, and they're just happily content sitting in the parlor.
There was that big flash of light, wasn't there? Last session? The session before?
There was that happened before, basically at the end of session one and at the beginning of session two.
I totally forgot. And that was never resolved, right? We still don't know
No,
what.
still don't know what that's connected to.
Okay. Okay. Well, I will mosey on my way over to Tristan.
Okay. You haven't made it to the bar car yet.
Okay.
This is still the parlor car where they get like all of the plush chairs and reading tables and like
This is
couches
where
and stuff. It's
that dude's supposed to be, right?
Yeah. Yeah. So you've got two of these cars and then the bar car. Once you all make it to the second parlor car, you'll notice nobody even looks up to see that you guys walk in. They seem strictly focused on whatever's in front of them, whether that be the window outside, whether that be the person in front of them, whether that be a book or newspaper that they're reading. But they don't look up. They're breathing, but they don't seem to take their eyes off of whatever it is. And no one is speaking.
I'm starting to get those uncanny valley vibes at the moment. We're like, oof, that ain't right. All right. I mean, I will continue on.
I'll
You know, to see if anyone. I mean, at this point, if anyone is moving, I'll notice, but
Mhm.
I'll keep an eye out to see if anyone is just like putting up a front.
Okay.
is it
Clint, that would have also stood out to you that there's actually no movement, but they don't seem aggressive in any way, shape, or form. Simon
Mm.
or Von Brandt, you have a question.
Yeah, I was just gonna ask, is it evident for me that they are also just staring in front of them, like mostly those that should be engaged in conversation?
The things that would have stood out to you most as you walked through was the first car you passed through doesn't seem that off to you with just base average perception. The woman with the long red hair, if you like redheads, would have stood out. But outside of that, nothing else. And then in the second car where everything seems still, yes, that does seem odd, especially from just like the military background and whatnot. It's almost as if they're standing at attention without standing at attention. It's that kind of like held posture, that same kind of feel.
I'm gonna mosey on over to one of the people that are reading a book
Mm-hmm.
and sit next to them if possible.
Okay.
Oh, hi. What you reading?
No response.
Not the most talkative person I see. I'm fond of the whole dark, mysterious, and silent type. What's your name?
They sigh heavily and turn toward the window, giving their back to you.
Well, at least you're alive. And I'll just get up and keep following the group.
Okay.
They're living. They're actually alive.
Well, I would hope so. I can see that one turning a page. No one is turning a page.
Yeah. Oh, no, you actually will. You'll see someone flip the page on a book. But their attention seems to be very rigidly focused on whatever's in front of them.
Well, you have to continue to the bar car.
Clint, are you doing anything in particular as we enter this car where things seem to be off?
After Von Braun sits or does that, like Clint wouldn't have gone off without the group, but they're definitely, or he's definitely trying to lead the pack a bit. But as soon as Von Braun sits down and does that, and everybody, like, he notices that something's kind of off. I'm gonna make a wild assumption that Clint has seen this in like further out west towns where like someone strolls in and it's kind of lawless and people just kind of scatter and ignore it.
Yeah, that would be very similar to what's going on. Like they pretend like nothing else is going on than what's right in front of them. Like they don't want to be noticed.
Mm-hmm.
That would be a very similar feel.
There's something in the air.
Mm-hmm.
I don't like it.
You don't feel the same sense of nerves, though. There's a lot more calm in this car.
Right. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But the deliberate ignorance is a little unsettling.
Yeah. And you say you kind of hurry forward a little bit to move your way through the car?
I turn back and look at Iselina and Esme and Captain Von Brant, and I kind of tilt my head towards the end of the car.
Okay. As you all make your way to what would be the entrance to the bar car, like out of this one and into the bar car, you open the door and you step through, and you find yourself at the first parlor car you walked into, with the two people that seemed pleasantly just happy to be there, and the woman with red hair.
Oh, no, that is interesting.
I don't like this.
You know, a guy just wants a drink. You come down here, you walk down through a few cars to get a drink. I just want a drink.
Well, it appears we have done something to make that a little bit more difficult.
Does anybody in the group have a sorcery of good or higher?
Yeah.
Okay.
Von Brant or not Von Brant. Sorry, I'm not Von Brant. Clint has a great sorcery.
Great sorcery. This was definitely a magical effect. When you step through the door, you don't remember seeing anything. You firmly remember the gap of when you basically ended up over here. So it's not a portal. Something else happened. And there's like a blank spot in your memory.
Clint turns, stay here for a second, and walks purposefully forward to the next car, and is going to walk purposely through that next car through the doors.
Okay. While Clint does that, what are the other three of you going to be doing? Because we're going to get to that here in a second.
There's a woman. Oh, sorry, go ahead.
I was just going to say I'm going to wait for Clint to reappear the way we just came.
I am going to observe. I'm going to observe a little bit more the people in this room, because these people were actually moving, as opposed to just sitting there and reading. And not to isolate the person with red hair in this room, but she is the one I do not recognize. So I am going to use my time while we wait for Clint to use Esme as a cover for observing what's actually happening with this redheaded lady. And I'll just be like all lovey-dovey, flirty flirt with Esme, touchy-feely, as I like go around and just like observe her actions as opposed to everybody else's actions, and if she knows anybody else in this room, like just basically clocking her to see if she is the head of this operation.
Okay. You notice that she is primarily looking out one of the windows, but with the angle in which she's looking at, you can watch her eyes, and she's actually watching all the reflections. And she's watching people, not what's out the windows.
What a move. And I will I'll just keep it up. Like I'll even be in there and just like maybe even do like a twirl with Esme, just things that like newly discussing newly in love people do. Like doing that kind of things, just actively moving in just our area, not to impose on anybody else. Not that I think anyone would care if I even entered their personal space in this area, except redheaded lady. And I'm just gonna do that, just like some small dance moves, just a lot of things to keep me moving, and make it not obvious that I'm clearly have made her, you know? And I'm just seeing if anybody else is also looking towards her as if they're working with her and they're just trying not to be, they're trying to hide, you know?
Okay.
Just keeping up that if anything of interest happens
Um,
while we wait for Clint.
okay. You'll be watching. As you do, the only thing of interest that seems to happen, you notice her eyes. They do watch you from time to time, but they don't seem to like focus solely on you. So it's could be just about anything when it comes to that. So you don't know whether or not she's made you. You're guessing probably not. And you'll find that every once in a while she opens up a pocket watch and you think she's looking at the time, but you can't see the watch face because of where the top opens. But she's not looking under the lid like some people might be looking under the lid of the watch. She doesn't have it positioned like that. She is watching the pocket watch itself, though, from time to time.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Okay.
And Von Brandt, you said you're just waiting?
Yeah, I'm expecting Clint to reappear, so I'm
Mhm.
facing the door to the sleeping cabins.
Okay.
The same way we came from when we just reappeared in the room, and I'm expecting him to reappear at any moment.
Mm-hmm. So then I'm going to shift back to Clint. Clint, as you walk purposely, you're walking all the way through to the bar car.
Mm-hmm.
You walk through the door and you appear again, the exact same way that you appeared before, but as though you were leading your party back through again. They're not there waiting for you. So think more Groundhog Day,
Yeah.
a portal.
Clint pulls out his watch, his pocket watch.
Mm-hmm.
What time does it say?
It says, so let's say that you made it back to the Contessa's sleeping car before she made her exchange at, say, 7:30 p.m. You went to Isolina's car after the Contessa, excused herself, and now it's closer to 8:15 by the time you guys finish your processing, you're looking at things, you're pondering, and then you're headed out. It says 8:46.
Okay.
So
Clint is going to wait for like 2 or 3 minutes to see that 2 or 3 minutes have passed on his watch. And then he's going to make it straight through the cars again.
Okay. You come back out the exact same way.
And what time does it say on the watch?
8:46.
And so Clint will go back the way they came.
Okay.
Towards the sleeper cars.
Okay. Nothing strange happens.
I'm in the sleeping car area.
Yep.
Someone wants to get a drink. They go get a drink with their friends. They go try to get a drink. They lose their friends. Just want a drink. Clint goes to Isolina's cabin,
Okay.
knocks on the door.
There's no response.
All right. Clint's gonna go into the first dining car,
That's on the other side of the
or
bar.
the
Parlor car?
parlor car. Yeah, sorry.
Okay. Yep. All right. So you make it back to the parlor car.
Yep.
There's a lady with red hair. There's the other two people that just seem to be super happy to be in that car. And if you give it a little bit, your friends appear again.
And they just enter the car.
It's like they've always been there. Like they followed you right through the door.
So how long have you been here?
Good question. How long have we been here?
So this version of yourselves,
Oh God.
you just walked through the door and followed Clint.
What do you mean? We just walked in with you.
Oh. You aren't you. This isn't good.
What?
Clint's going to look around the room and use sorcery as an observation, playing this.
Okay. So with the addition of the jack, and a great sorcery, so that's going to be a 21. In this car itself, you'll pick up on the pocket watch that the lady with red hair is holding. And you'll pick up on a different magic. So one of the things that you had learned before from your mentors is how to decipher the types of magic.
Mm-hmm.
While harnessing them is a little bit different for you, noticing them is something that you definitely did become very adept at. And her pocket watch is a completely different type of magic than what you see kind of rippling along the edges of the car. It kind of gives this weird haze that encapsulates the edges of the car, but it doesn't block the doorways. Are you going to investigate the other parlor car as well?
Not if I'm pretty certain this is the artifact I'm looking for.
It's a different magic.
It's a different magic, okay.
That pocket watch is different than the energy you see along the edges of the car.
I turn to this Captain Von Braunt easily and say, "Oh, never mind. Just wait here real quick. I need to test something out." And Clint books it for the other car.
Okay. As you walk into the other car and you're observing the same thing, that haze is not just on the edges and on just the walls. It's kind of creeping across the car itself, and it covers that doorway into the bar car.
Does anything stand out? Like any object, any person?
Not in this car.
So it's only the red haired lady and the watch.
That seem to be magical in these two cars. Now, based on what you know of magic, this could be some sort of containment because of the way that it's, it seems to be the walls. And if you look up, you'll notice that it seems to also cover the roof. You'll also catch, like if you watch very carefully, it's a little harder to see, but it seems to be under the surface of the floor. But every once in a while, as the train's going, if there's a little bit of a shake or something, you see it kind of ripple up a little bit. So being that there's containment magic involved, You're not sure that it's emanating from inside this space.
So what you're saying, it's not coming from inside the house.
Probably not coming from inside the house. That doesn't mean that there's not a way to unlock it from inside, but it doesn't seem to be emanating from any object inside.
Which version of us exists at this moment in time?
In this very exact moment, it would be the one that just walked through the door and you saw him like ask that strange question and then storm off.
Okay.
Where is he going?
I do not know. This version of Isalina is doing the same thing she did before, except now also thinking about the strange action that that Clinton took, and wondering if he saw something she didn't. Because now I'm thinking about this gives a new perspective to Isalina, to this version.
Okay.
This reminds her a little bit more of the time with the bad machine.
And Father Korsakov?
Yes.
Yes. You're getting, as that kind of thought comes into your mind, you're getting a very uneasy feeling about your body, the same way that you felt for just a brief second before Father Korsakov stepped up behind you, because you were the one nearest the door when he walked through and introduced himself. Mm-hmm. So it's very similar to that.
As I do that, I think about what the Contessa said, because the Contessa was really the one who was way more preoccupied with the fact of consent and such. And so I look over to Von Brandt as he watches Clint go away. And I say, Capitan, do you have a pocket watch or a watch of sorts on your person?
Yes, I do.
Do you mind telling me the time? And I look over to Esme and I make a hand gesture to can you give me give me your pen and paper real quick? Because I know, like my parents, she always has one on her. You never know, I guess. And yes, could you tell me the time real quick?
It's 8:46, wasn't it? Hello, Raiders.
Hello. Hi. 8:46.
A minute or two would have passed by now, so you could say 8:48.
Okay. It's 8:48.
8:48. Okay. And I am going to write that down I'm going to rip a piece of paper in half and write 8:48 on one and 8:48 on the other. Mm-hmm. And I'm going to hand one of them to the Capitan, and I'm going to say, put this piece inside your pocket watch, if you do not mind for me. And
you're going to pull some sort of magic trick or something?
Or something. We will see. And I will grab the other piece of paper, and I will go on the same act as I did in my other life of twirling around, doing all those things. And I'm going to, as I'm twirling around one of those times, I'm going to let the piece of paper fall very strategically in front of the door.
Okay.
So I could see the time there. And I'll probably, you know what? I'll finish writing on that piece of paper. On the second piece of paper, I'm going to wait a few minutes and I'm going to write down what I believe the time is after a little bit of time has passed. So I'll write 8:50, and then when I think it's 8:50, I'll drop it. And then
everyone is acting so weird.
I will say, maybe we should go try and get that drink again.
Well, Clint just ran through. Clearly, he wanted to run us over, to run against us, run us over. Jesus, not the right, not the right words.
See, I think you really need a drink.
He
I
clearly
think
wanted
that-
to race us.
Exactly. Let us go. He has a little bit of an edge on us, but I think we can win.
It's like two
And,
cars. Let's just go.
And we go ahead, and when we enter the other room, it's still as still as ever, right?
Absolutely.
As we walk away from that first door, I'm gonna tell Von Brandt, I'm gonna turn to look at Von Brandt and Esme, and I'm going to say, I am not one for magic. I'm more, about personable skills. However, I have experienced a feeling that I am feeling at the back of my neck and, in the back of my mind of something that I experienced before. And while before I thought maybe there was some sort of portal or some sort of teleportation, I do not know. Going from the bar car to where we ended up in an effort to keep us away from an area. However, feeling this uneasy feeling and seeing Clint act oddly, I am beginning to think that this may be some sort of time dilation trick. I do not know how much about magic you know, Capitan, but
I know next to nothing about magic save my brand of magic.
I. Oh my gosh.
You are cute. You can tell Esme is actually saying that in kind of a patronizing way, but with a smile on her face.
Pretty much the same. But after having had to do some research for a prior investigation, we will say, I am tempted to believe that there is some sort of time dilation, and the only person who seems to have any idea what is happening is that lady with the red hair inside the other room. I have not seen her. I've been on this train for a while, and I have not seen her even once. So, and she keeps looking at her pocket watch as if it holds some sort of information that is not just the time. So I have dropped a piece of paper in the other room with a time that I believe it will be when we walk through this door and end up back there. And you have your little piece of paper in your pocket watch showing when we got there. And I'm curious which one will be correct, considering we haven't seen Clint at all. He's not in this room, right? He's not in here.
By the time you guys get there, unless is Clint just going to stop and wait for a while in that room, or what is he going to do?
Clint was going to go back to the other car. So if this is still the same time bubble, they probably would have bumped into each other by the time they made it to that car.
So, yes, Clint would have been right behind you, like walking up to you as you're having that conversation.
Behind us?
Oh, well, you... behind. Wait, which behind us? From where we just came?
I thought you had said that like you walked into the second one where everybody was, and then you turned toward Von Brandt, who would have been entering that car. So your back would be to where Clint is walking up.
Yeah. Well,
okay. I thought he was... Okay.
No, he did not jump back in time again.
Okay.
So you would have heard the last bit of that explanation. And Clint?
Yeah, there's something time going on. This magic just pisses me off. All right. So if we try to go around again, if you go without me, you'll lose me. You'll lose this version of me. I don't know what happened to the other version of you two and you, Esme, but y'all are stuck in a different loop. But I'm happy y'all are here. So here's what I propose. Because we can get back into the sleeping car, and it doesn't seem to affect stuff there. We go out.
The redheaded lady is what you're going to say. We ambushed the redheaded lady?
I don't think it has anything to do with her, although she has something going on that might be worth investigating after this mess is dealt with. But it's just happening in these two cars. So we go back into the sleeper wagons, and maybe we can find our way around it. May have to go on top of the train though. Again.
Oh, well, now that sounds like fun. These are the areas without my sleeping. Oh, no, these have my room in it, right?
Correct.
Oh, okay. Well, if we were going to do that, I need to change into something that does not distress. As beautiful as it is not a train riding. And by riding, I mean surfing. I tire.
Well, while you change, I could always ask a few questions of our red-headed lady.
I have a couple questions I'd like to ask too.
Just be nice. She, in fact, might just be, I do not know. Be nice and be careful because you never know what she's involved in.
When am I ever not nice?
I never was good at poker, so maybe I'll let you do talking.
Oh, geez, am I good at poker? Not really.
Clint is in fact poor in gambling.
Oh,
Amazing.
at least I'm average.
Average with enough confidence for 3 men.
Yeah.
Amazing. Okay. Well, while you do that, I will be over here changing. If you need something, I would suggest hollering, but I do not know how this magic affects us. So you could try. And I will try to hear it.
You know what? I'm afraid y'all will lose us if you leave this car.
Through the same way we came?
Yeah. I think if you leave this bubble, you leave this version of whatever's going on. Not to say I don't want you to be safe, but I think it's an all or nothing proposition.
So you suggest we move as a group instead of separating?
I do.
Okay.
I mean, it doesn't save time, but I don't think time's an issue right now.
That is very true. All right. Well, I will just go and change very quickly then as we move as a group. And I'll just walk into my room. And I will look at Esme and be like, 2 hands are better than 1.
Oh, that is very true. Plus, that dress took 2 of us to get you into it.
You're not wrong. Almost 3 if you think of the Contessa.
True, yeah. Without that extra pair of hands, it would have taken about twice as long. Well, no, that.
It's what you hear as the door starts closing and our voices start muffling. And you will hear a lot of talking because what I will do inside is I am going to ask Esme to just write down everything we have discussed and all of the ideas we've had, just in case a different version of myself will need this information. So just shorthand write the information. In fact, in her shorthand, I don't need it for myself to understand it. Only Esme needs to, because she's probably not going to leave me in any of these instances.
Okay.
And while I'm changing, she will be writing that down after she helps me with the zipper in the back or the buttons. I don't know. The Victorian era appropriate button up, button down system for dresses.
So laces.
Understood. Lots of laces.
Laces.
So she'll use her deft fingers to make sure you get properly undressed.
Yes. And also write down what the heck is happening.
Mm-hmm.
For a future version of myself. Or past version of myself.
Or both.
Or both.
Outside the car, what are the gentlemen doing?
So, Clint, you were saying that there is another version of me.
Yeah, probably just it's older.
But then there could be two me's running around.
It's just it's hard to explain. I do only think there's one of you, but right now this you is caught up to what the old you probably knows now, or not. But have you ever been manipulated by time?
I've been manipulated a lot of times by women and men, but never by time.
This is a hell of a
sorry,
thing.
wrong word. I was looking for handled.
Well, this is where we're at. Someone else has the upper hand, so you are being handled again.
Yeah. Except this time I don't really like it.
It's never a good thing. I'm afraid that something else is going on, and it wasn't just the statue that they're worried about. Something bigger.
Perhaps the statue was just a diversion?
No, I think the statue has a big piece of it, or else that man, Mr. Smith, wouldn't have tried to jump off the train with it.
Yeah, unless they weren't aware of the importance of the statue. Or the lack of importance.
I don't know. He seemed pretty wily. I wouldn't take him for a dullard. But I'm worried that if this spell extends beyond this train car too far above, that we won't be able to get out of it. Because I certainly am not going under the train.
Neither am I. That would be dangerous. That said, there has got to be... I'm not well versed in magic, but from what I know, there has to be a magician somewhere. Someone has to be keeping this spell up, one way or another.
Yeah, this isn't like that hedgehog thing. I don't think, anyway. Nothing stood out to me in that way. So if it is a person, should find them.
Well, we can start with the nice lady with the red head.
She may be able to aid us. That watch of hers is something. It's not the same thing. It's not where the spell's coming from. But it's a stunning timepiece, that's for sure.
As an aside, having learned a little bit from Carolina, did I, on that redhead lady, did I see any jewelry that would seem like a symbol of some sort, or something that I should look for as a reoccurring theme?
In fact, the top of the pocket watch that was blocking the view of the actual face of the watch had a triangle on it with an eye in the center.
Is that something I recognize, or
No,
something?
but it's definitely unique.
Something Clint recognizes.
It's something I will talk about once I get out of the room. Struggling with laces at the moment.
Other than that, there was jewelry, but that was the only symbolage that you would have seen on any of it.
Okay. All right. Okay. Hand back to the boys.
So what exactly is your experience in these matters?
Very little. I mean, my parents are fairy, so there was always a bit of a sort of magic at home, but nothing like this, for sure. I
All right.
can do a very limited sort of magic myself. Not one I'm one to use. Without absolutely needing to.
I can relate. Not fairy, though.
You don't strike me as human either.
Not quite. But close enough that people just tend to let it pass.
Careful you don't pique my curiosity too much.
I'm afraid I would run afoul of that. And Clint kind of smirks and tips his hat back. And we get another drink after this time loop's over.
Wasn't that the intent all along?
I don't know. I had a stand-in meeting with Lady Maribel.
Who?
Oh, you didn't meet her. She's a lovely lady. Though, on this train, maybe it would be a good idea to have a further conversation with her. She was very chatty.
Oh, that lady. Was it? Was it not?
Hmm?
I'm sorry, I don't pay much attention when people aren't looking at me.
Fair enough. But I mean, I know it's their honeymoon, but
Go on.
Clint starts looking at his watch.
Oh, you mean they're... Oh. I bang on the door.
I saw from like mumbling to Esme about, oh, and you know, this is what the symbol looked like, so she could draw it on a separate piece to show the guys outside.
Okay.
And I'm like, are one of you dying out there, or?
Oh, we could ask you the same thing. It's been about 20 minutes.
Yeah, you should have seen how long it took to put it on.
Well...
It's supposed to be a night of passion. I mean, don't you use daggers for that? Just get it off.
Do you know how expensive this was? And I'll go off on a little bit of a tirade. You do not get this type of fabric just anywhere. And like, then I'll stop and I'll be like, no. It looks a little bit more like this. Yes. Just like that. And then go back to, and just like intermittently talk to you guys until finally I'm done taking off the dress and putting on the new outfit. Which is just, you know, looks sort of like a riding outfit. It's sort of like a riding outfit. It just has pants and it's movable. Mm-hmm. And I won't get it caught on anything and possibly risk my life. You know, just the usual. And be like, and that's why we have to, you know, I will not rip up that dress. How dare you even insinuate such a thing?
I only meant to say that there's some expediency that could be going on, but I totally get one to save your garments. There is appropriate attire for every occasion.
Thank you. Now, Esme, could you show them the picture? While I was looking at the lady in red, I noticed this symbol on her pocket watch. Do either of you recognize it?
I sure do. They're paying me. They're funding this trip for me right now.
Oh, well then.
So you say the lady in red had this symbol on her pocket watch?
Yes, she did.
I think that we were right to have a small conversation with her, though she may not have anything to do with this time magic.
If anything, maybe she is here to assist you.
I was trying to meet up with someone to get a little bit more information on my job.
Well, there you go. 2 birds, 1 stone.
Thanks for noticing that. Actually helped me out quite a bit.
Oh, it is no problem. Noticing things is a little bit my thing.
They are the Illuminated Brotherhood of Bayern.
Ooh, illuminated. Interesting.
The Illuminati.
Do-do-do-do-do-do-do. Okay. Well then, let us go meet your organization and see if we can find a way out of this time vortex. I do not know what to call it.
Bubble. Let's just time bubble.
And then a time bubble. Let's see if we can find a way out of this and also find out more about your job.
Well,
I would hate for you to lose out on money for something so silly.
the less you know about that, the better, I promise you. But I will make sure that you know everything that there is about what predicament we're in now.
That works for me. Well, lead the way. Clint.
Clint will pull out his pocket watch, snap it open, and what time is it now?
Time has progressed normally since the last time you walked into the door for the bar car.
So 20 minutes, take off the dress, 25 minutes or so. So we're at about what, 9:15?
About 9:15ish, yeah.
All right. Well, let's go. And so as they go through into the that car, Clint will continue watching the watch, the time.
Okay. As you all make your way into the car and Clint's kind of glancing at the watch and you're making your way toward the lady with the red hair, she'll actually turn around and she looks the three of you up and goes, "Hello, Mr. Smolder." And that is where we will take our break. Please stick around, everyone. We'll be back in about 8 to 10 minutes.
You know what's really mean?
Hmm.
Chris is preventing us from getting to the bar car.
I know.
Absolutely cool.
My dastardly plan.
My fantasy drinking quota.
How dare you? I've gone dry all night tonight.
Will they drink in the second half? That is the question.
Find out.
I'm not in the next half.
All right, we'll be right back in like 5 to 10 minutes. we are back, everyone. Back in the timey-wimey, wibbly-wobbly thing.
Thank you so much to everyone that stuck around. Yes, as a quick recap, our cast looked over the clues that they had from the previous episode. They deduced what they could and decided to retire to the bar car for a drink. Along the way, they found themselves trapped inside a time bubble, as Clint puts it. They are now going to meet with a red-haired woman who has a symbol on her pocket watch that radiated magic associated with the Illuminated Brotherhood of Bayern. We closed out the first half with her turning to the group and saying, "Well, hello, Mr. Smolder."
What time does it say on my watch?
He's still progressing as normal.
Okay. Clint will look up from his watch and say, "Howdy. How many times have you seen us come into this room?"
If my count is accurate, 17.
And how many versions of us have you seen?
To be certain that they did not notice me before, I'd say at least 11.
We've been at this for some time. How long have you been in here?
Looks like since about 7:30. She opens her pocket watch and closes it.
Were we in the luggage container at that time?
That was about the time that you went back toward the Contessa's before you had a conversation and then moved on to Isolina's.
Okay. I recognize that we need to have a different conversation after this. But right now, the most pressing thing is getting this bubble down.
Yeah, this is not something that can be sustained for very long. I assume it's going to drop of its own accord.
You are much more patient than I am. I've been needing of a drink for, the last 17 versions of myself.
That's one of the reasons that we hired you, Mr. Smolder. Patience is not something that you care much for, yet you respect it.
So you know a little bit more about me than I thought.
You have quite the reputation.
Much to my annoyance.
Oh, but without it, I don't know our paths would have ever crossed.
I'm sorry, I'm being incredibly rude. I have not introduced my well, for this trip, my friends.
Ah, yes.
This is Isolina Montiel.
Yes.
And her lovely wife, Esme. And this is current Captain Von Brandt.
Pleasure to meet you, ma'am.
And there's one other of our party, but she's indisposed and is not a party to any of this time bullshit.
Yes, I remember seeing you all walk to the sleeping cars. She looks at her watch again and says, "Pleasure to meet you. You can call me Katharina."
Katarina, it is a pleasure.
Pleased to meet you, Senora Katarina.
A pleasure is all mine, Signora Katerina.
You are a charming one, aren't you, Captain?
I am smitten by your beauty.
I like it that way. Stay smitten. Ladies, I think I will need to steal a moment with Mr. Smolder at some point in time in this trip, but now doesn't have to be that time. Is there something in particular you'd like to talk to me about?
You seem to understand that this is just gonna stop.
She continues to look at her watch every once in a while. From the angles that you have now, she seems to be watching. I don't know if it looks like just this pulsing energy, and it's slowly fading over time, but it's very slight. Isolina, it would have reminded you of some of the capacitors that your parents' engines had when they were magic engines, the ones created by the dwarves. And it would have this light on it that would kind of tell you how much energy was left before it needed to be recharged. So you would think that she's monitoring the power level of the actual spell around her.
Interesting. Is time pressing for you, Senora Katarina? We could allow you some time to speak with Smolders if it is.
No, we have a train ride. A few days, actually. Anytime during then will be fine. While I am not good at it, she clearly has a German accent.
Okay. Well then. Have you seen anything of interest on the train, Senora?
Not other than the strange flash of light earlier.
Any ideas as to what that could be?
No, too brief. No way to determine just from such a moment. I would have had to either have been at the source of it, or it would have had to have lasted longer for me to have any idea.
That is fair. Well, have you seen anybody here who has not been affected by the time loop? Aside from us.
Not since I first noticed its effects. It's possible that there was someone who was passing through that was a part of it, like your fifth companion, the Contessa, I believe. When she passed through this car, I don't know. However long ago that was, my watch stopped at 7:31.
Interesting. And from your just knowledge of these sorts of magics, do you believe that this is only encompassing the train cars, or do you think it is encompassing the entire area of the train?
This seems to be some sort of ward to keep people away from wherever it's keeping people away from. It wasn't my objective, so I just figured I'd wait for it to play out. How far did you make it?
Only one car over from here, and then it begins again.
Just short enough to get a drink.
Yeah.
Well, that would be a very strange temperance movement, but no less impossible than anything else.
My concern is the reasoning. Why keep people from between the sleeper cars and the bar?
Maybe something's going on the other side.
Certainly was enough going on near the front. Or no, near the back.
Mm-hmm.
But that was just a bit ago.
I heard some conductor grumbling about hedgehogs. I have no idea what that's about.
A bit more than just hedgehogs, though. They were a fun diversion.
Mm.
Hedgehogs. Always a good diversion. Small little rodents, I guess they are.
I guess it was a good wedding present too.
Some would say.
Yeah, if the
Well,
two hedgehogs come with us, like through the time loop and everything.
Yes, Arsenio and
Marcellus?
Marcello
Marcello.
are perfectly fine.
just chilling.
Mm-hmm.
Well, if this is all you know, I think I am good. If this is all you know.
Is there any way to tell the source who is doing this?
And are they in this car or the next?
Oh, no, I'm certain they're not inside this car.
If we're free to go into the sleeper cars and we can't get in the bar cars,
Mm-hmm.
it makes me think that they're in the bar.
That's a good assumption. At least for now. They're in the car for now.
Yeah, something tells me that when this ends, they're going to try to get out of here as quickly as possible.
Or leave with the temporal dissolution. Well, either way, I guess it's time for us to go find out.
I know this isn't really quite your area, but Captain Von Brandt, was it the World Crime League?
Yes. Those that I've crossed paths with before?
Would you know that they have any of this, of any magic that they could do this sort of thing with?
They probably have mages with them, maybe. Not that I recall last time I was, well, in their presence. Let me see. Back in Africa, Chris, have I seen any one of them cast spells back in Africa?
Of the ones that were following you, no.
No.
That doesn't mean that they don't have people that use magic. You've heard enough stories about the World Crime League to know that they do. But time magic, honestly, not as common. Not impossible, but not as common.
Chances are it's not them. It could well be one of their agents, but they don't tend to use that type of magic.
Okay, well. I vote that we just move ahead with our plan.
Top of the train?
Happens. Yes.
All right, let's go. We'll be back.
Good. And just so you know, you're not looking for someone from the World Crime League for a spell of this sort. There's only one order that I've ever heard of that could do something of this kind.
All right.
Called the Ancient Order of Chthonian Time.
Well, that is a mouthful.
Sounds like the type of order that comes with tentacles.
Sounds like a group that is looking for artifacts.
I don't believe that they have much to do with cephalopods. However, they definitely are obsessed with things like time and immortality.
Would they have any reason to contract out to the World Crime League?
Not unless it actually suited their ends. They are very particular about who they let in and who they don't. If they dislike if they dislike or distrust someone, they are much more apt to make them disappear. Usually through some form of ritual sacrifice and toward their own ends of research, but definitely make them disappear.
Just to refresh my memory, who has seen Clint get healed by the statue?
I thought that just happened. Wait. I don't remember now when that happened. If that was before or after you came down.
It was a little bit timey-wimey then, too.
Yeah, because if I was going to add that, if the statue was, could heal wounds, that has something to do with immortality.
Yeah. I mean, that's exactly what Clint was going to bring up, too, after we were away from...
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's a lot to discuss after we get away from this lady.
Oh,
Katarina?
I would have said it right in front of her.
I wouldn't have let you. I would have. If you would have gotten that look of "I have an idea" sort of look on your face.
Mm-hmm.
I will say.
So this is how I think it plays out, and I think this will be pretty good. If you bring up when did you get healed?
Yeah, I'll just turn to Clint and ask. Do you remember when you got healed by the?
And Clint will stop and just like, "Oh, you mean on top of the train when we were sharing a moment?" Well, I don't know. I was really enjoying myself, so it all kind of got a little hazy. You do have pretty eyes.
I know I pride myself on all my prettiness.
But let's leave this conversation for another time. I think that Miss Katarina here has had has plenty more to worry about.
Or at least some time to relax away from all of the hustle and bustle that I'm sure comes with her position.
Look, we can't go to the bar anyway, so where should we go?
It was nice meeting you, Senora Catarina.
And nice meeting you as well.
Well, I think that if we can't go through the cars to get to the bar car, maybe we just go over the cars.
One way or another, we're gonna make our way to the bar. After all, who keeps a woman on her honeymoon away from the good wine?
Only the worst people.
All right, it's settled then. And Clint will walk his way back up to the sleeping cars. Between the cars, is there a good way to get up onto the roof?
Oh yeah, each car that you go through, they're not like modern cars where they have like the flexible walls that kind of keep things. You actually open and have to step across a slight gap. It's not a huge gap, but there's a rail and you step across the gap to the next one. And so like a tiny little balcony, and each one has a ladder that goes up.
So Clint will stay out in between the cars, and using their sorcery, do they perceive where the bubble starts?
It's a lot more. It's a lot more vague here. It looks like it's kind of open, like you could probably go up here, but everything's moving super fast. So you're not sure if it's there and you can't see it because there's a little bit of a blur to, because there's like a hazy feeling before. So there's already some of that that kind of throws it off. You could go another car further away if you think, or you could just try it here and see what happens.
Well, time is fleeting. Let's give this a shot.
I don't know about you. I can live forever.
I haven't tested these things.
Well, at least I've been told I can live forever. That until someone puts a bullet through my head.
I'm sure you've never had that threat in your life.
You'd be surprised.
I am
Oh, wait, that was sarcasm.
I am already making my way up.
As Isolina makes her way up the ladder, quickly followed by Esme, who smirks at the two of you as she goes through, you end up on top of the car. There's a slight sensation, so a brief tingling across your skin. Could be the adrenaline of being on top of a moving train car. Could be something else.
Are you boys coming, or should I just go about this alone?
After you, Captain Von Brandt.
Don't mind if I do. And I'll climb up.
And then Clint will follow.
And when Captain Von Brandt comes up and I assist him, I will say, not that I do not trust the organization Clint is with. I think the less people who know about the artifact, the better. We should, keep that on the down low, as some would say. Instead of announcing to the world we know that this artifact exists and is within our reach.
Good idea.
I tend to agree. I mean, they are paying me, but I kind of take contracts from all sorts.
Yeah, what are they paying you for?
You don't really need to know that.
It's neat to know. I'm sure you understand, Capitan.
And Clint kind of puts his watch away into his pocket.
I say, I do not know about you, Clint, but I still felt something in the back of my neck when I came up here.
Maybe it's maybe we're just on the edge.
All of you except for Von Brunt would have also felt it.
No, I haven't felt a thing.
I don't know why. I just have like that image from Westworld in my head where it's like, it looks like nothing to me.
Well, it is okay. Not everyone enjoys the same things. Well, let us move forward, I guess, see if we continue feeling it until the end.
Yeah, I agree.
Are the top of the trains obvious that they're different from each other, or are they all practically the same?
Like, is there a bird stuck in flight somewhere?
There is no bird stuck in flight. The scene looks perfectly normal from up here. The cars are structurally the same. They're not 100% uniform, but there's not enough difference between them outside of the engine and the caboose to have it make any impact on you trying to cross them from one to the other.
Well, more to see if I end up back here.
Gotcha. You don't see anything that would indicate as such from your vantage point.
I can't even think of what I could possibly do to mark at the top of a car. It's all metal, right? Up there?
Yes, these cars do have metal roofs.
Clint would have a coin in his pocket or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
We just chuck the coin. If it
Where are you
disappears.
throwing it?
So I imagine we make it across to the second car.
Does anybody have poor athletics?
No.
Mm-mm.
Mm-mm.
Then the first jump is a little trepidatious, but it works just fine.
So making it on top of the second car, Clint would make it towards the edge of it
Mhm.
and flick the coin across to the roof of the bar car.
Okay. It kind of bounces onto the roof of the bar car and then falls off, like slides and skips off the top of the car.
Well, I think we should be able to make it through. I would suggest making it, if we make it across, all right. Make it across, go to the other end, and then come in through the other end.
Just to make sure we don't get into contact with the bubble.
Yeah.
Yeah, no problem.
A good idea. What's is our plan of action once we are inside and we figure out who the culprit is, if they are there?
I don't know about you, but I have an itching to put someone down. I don't like being stuck in time.
Oh, speaking of stuck in time, I do know of somebody who manipulates time. I do not believe that they would be here, but after hearing about a new organization and crime, it sort of jogged a memory of a certain father who was off on a mission to try and stop somebody or some bodies who were trying to achieve immortality. And this group, oh my god, what group were they? What are they called?
The Promethean Society.
Promethean Society. The Promethean Society, I do not know if you are familiar. They are an organization that's, looks to stop crimes of the type of crimes that normally a special police force would do. However, they have no such patience.
Hard to
And
me to dispatch any of their problems yet, but I've only been in Europe for a couple weeks.
it is true. They tend to keep their nose clean unless they want to make a scene. So it may be possible that they have caught on that this was happening, and they may be here. So I know some people from the Promethean Society, but I do not believe any of them would be here. Though if I do see them, I will make sure to point them out. I do not think they are the villains in this situation.
Why would they want to keep people in two cars from getting through?
Probably from stopping the people in the other cars from being harmed. They could also want to keep the bad people in, considering they are seemingly a little bit powerful. I'm
All
sure
right.
there is a slew of things I can think of, but I do not think they meant to keep us out, but rather somebody in.
If it is these Prometheans, their timing is horrible.
Oh, you do not have to tell me. This is my honeymoon.
I mean, if you wanted to extend any longer, you could go stay in those cars.
Oh, please. As if I would just sit around when there is a mystery afoot.
Wow.
Why would we want to miss out on all this excitement?
I will take your lead because I don't think you'll like my answers to their questions.
Which is just shoot them. You really should think. Are you sure the glasses do not stop you from being able to see, or are you fine?
I'm fine. You don't want to see what happens when people get a side of my eyes.
I'm probably shocked for a little bit, if nothing else. Well, down we go then. And I will swing on down.
Are we going down on the same side as the parlor cars, or are we going across to the common cars and going down the opposite side?
Clint
Furthest
suggested
away?
across and down.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you all make it no strange incidents. And you find yourself on the opposite side of the bar car. Clint, you will notice there's that same ripple of magic in the air headed the other direction, as if it's blocking the other cars from getting into the bar car as well.
Well, shoot.
The only car that seems to be unaffected completely is the bar car.
Y'all, you may want to hold on to your hats.
Okay.
What's going on?
No one's getting in or out of this bar car. The same time effect is going on the opposite side of the train. This bar car is the only one unaffected on either side.
You do believe that you're inside the effect, though, or not inside, like outside the barrier itself.
Right.
So
But
you're
we-
within the safe zone.
we'll be able to get in, but there's probably something going on. And if Katarina's right, I don't know that we have that much time to witness it.
Well, it sounds like we're gonna have a drink and a show.
And should we corner them by going down 2 separate ways?
I do not think they will be expecting anyone, to be honest with you. I think we have the element of surprise. But I think that is a good strategy.
Clint's not a dainty walker, so I imagine that they would have heard Clint walking on the roof of the car.
Yeah, if you were trying to be sneaky, we would have needed a stealth check to go across, which we can do if you want.
If we want to, like, if anyone thought of it, Clint would try.
But he noticed it after you guys crossed.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
you wouldn't have actually seen that until after you crossed the top of the car.
All right, then I'll run to the other end of the car.
So you're going to climb back up and run to the other end of the car?
Yeah, so that there's one of us entering from each way.
Okay. Are you all going to wait for him?
Yeah.
All right.
I'm not in the habit of getting shot first, so
Fair enough.
I'll make sure my gun is nice and loaded and ready at reach.
Okay. The three of you on that side, Esme, Clint, and Iselina, as well as Von Brandt, about the time that you cross the top and get ready to start coming down again, you all experience a painful headache. And the memories of every split version of yourself are converging on your brain right now as everything starts to come back together. So if we're visualizing this, all of a sudden, just think like all of you are kind of blurred out and there's at least a dozen of you, and you're starting to coalesce and can like back into one. And as part of it, it causes you to have this piercing headache.
Oh, well, that means I think that's a go.
Let's do it now.
Okay. You go to open the door. It seems to stick a little bit, and then it opens. Von Braun,
Mm-hmm.
your eyes are a little like, I don't know, whatever.
Black
it's
spots.
a migraine.
Yeah.
You're having trouble focusing. Do you want to spend any cards on trying to see things a little bit more clearly with your perception?
Yep,
I
I
ordered.
would. I don't have a whole lot, so I'm gonna burn this.
Okay. So you're able to focus a little bit more, and you will notice two figures pass into the parlor car. One of them you're pretty certain is the Contessa. And while they don't seem to be walking any faster, they feel like a blur of movement. So like their body posture, so think of it like on television, like if something got stuck and you don't actually see them move and they're just kind of like dragging across the screen, like, or for like a video game, frame rate kind of gets stuck. The figure still moves, but it doesn't actually walk or limbs move. That's kind of what you're seeing for a second until they disappear into the other car. On the opposite side, you guys walk in, and inside, all you see is Tristan. There's a little green tinge to the gas lamps. And then it goes away as your headache starts to alleviate. And he looks up and says, "Oh, another round?"
Make that 2.
Keep them coming.
How are you doing, Tristan?
I'm doing just fine. It's been slow, but it's a fairly empty train.
No one else been through here?
Oh yeah, we've had some customers, but not many.
Our friend been through here?
Of course.
Was she with anyone?
Other than you all?
Mm-hmm.
Not that I recall.
Fair enough. Oh, that Contessa.
Let me know when I get in.
This is about the time that you'd be walking in.
Oh, there's another friend. Hello there, Capitan.
Hello. I just saw our friend with someone.
Our friend with a friend. It sounds about right. Well,
They were
conducting their own business, I'm sure.
yeah, let's leave it at that. I need a drink.
Clint pulls up a stool, sits down at the bar.
You'll see that he pours wine for the ladies as per before, and scotch for the gentlemen. Remembering ice for Von Brunt, and offers, as he normally does, to Clint as well, but waits.
Clint shakes his head, kills the first one, puts it down.
Pours another.
Clint actually takes off his hat and takes off his glasses, puts it in his pocket, puts some money on the counter for your troubles.
Thank you. You'll see him pull it off the counter and stick it in a like a bucket. So have you had anything interesting going on? I've heard of hedgehogs, other than the 2 cute ones that you showed me earlier.
We seem to have dealt with the hedgehog problem. Someone just left the lid open.
I don't know who'd be shipping hedgehogs around here, but you definitely don't want them running amok.
Well, especially in the passenger train. And aside from that, it's just been passing time.
Quiet.
Yeah. Only about 30 people on this train. Makes for kind of, well, not near as much excitement.
Very true. Though I haven't had the pleasure of meeting all of the conductors.
Well, there's only 3 of them on this leg of the journey. You saw the older gentleman. He came through here when you guys were here once. His name is Rolf. And then you have Frederick. He's the one that's stuck in the baggage car for this trip. And then who's the new guy? Nate. Nate was his name.
Oh, a new guy. Did you just pick him up or?
Somewhere around Barcelona, I think it was. Maybe it was Leon. I don't remember. I'm much more focused on paying customers than I am on the conductors. They drive people to drink, but they don't really do much else for me.
That is true. Well, I'll have to make sure to say hello to everyone. I mean, it is only polite.
Sure.
There's Frederick, Nate, and what was the other one? Roderick?
Rolf.
Rolf. And Rolf. Oh, well, any other interesting types? I'm sure on such a slow trip, there's a lot to see. A lot of time to get to know everyone.
Let's see, who's interesting? I mean, apart from you all, you're quite interesting.
I know.
As do others. They've noticed you too, Von Brandt.
Wait.
Or
Who's
is it
that?
Captain? Just some of the ladies.
Which suit is Esheke? Sorry.
I don't remember that one off the top of my head. I think it's clubs.
Sweet.
No, it's spades.
Yeah.
Still sweet. Okay. Clint fishes around in his pocket and pulls out some currency, whatever it might be.
Okay.
And starts laying out a couple of bills.
Okay.
There's some interesting things going on this train. I mean, entertaining as the hedgehogs might be, and some panic that a little kid might do, but it'd be good to know of some goings-ons.
Well, there was the shady businessman I saw earlier. I mean, his shoes didn't match his suit, and that didn't match his hat. Nothing looked right about him. His briefcase looked like a hand-me-down, and he talked vaguely about antiquities. There was Lady Maribel, who flirts with just about everybody, but doesn't flirt very hard with most.
I beg to differ.
Well then, sir, you may not be most.
Well, that's for certain.
There's Lady Graven. She doesn't say much. White wine spritzer. Lady Maribel, it's always something bubbly, but usually some form of champagne. She likes to celebrate. The antiquities dealer was always water.
I'm pretty sure the antiquities dealer won't be coming back through.
Sounds about right. Then there's usually a couple gents that come from the coach cars. They always order whatever's cheapest and strongest. That's how they put it. Don't get a really good read on them, though.
How about anyone wearing any symbols? Anything that stands out?
Symbols. There's some heraldry that shows up on a few of them. I'm not that versed in a lot of it, though.
Can I get a napkin, please?
Sure.
And something to write with.
Esme will actually pull out a fountain pen.
And Clint will slide them over to Captain Von Braunt. Can you write out the symbol of your obnoxious friends that we've been encountering?
Oh yeah, them. And I'll write down the symbols that I saw of the WCO.
Okay.
WCL.
He'll look at it and go, I've seen it before.
On anyone on this train?
Not on this train. It was the last time I came through going to Munich. There were about half dozen of them.
They do like to travel in packs.
What's that?
They do like to travel in packs.
And no, nothing blatant. I can keep my eyes open though.
That would be much appreciated. We'll be in here quite a bit.
Yeah.
Well, you're the ones I've seen the most so far. It's
I don't
always
know if
good to
that
have
says something.
It's thirsty business.
and friendly faces that I do appreciate.
Many things to celebrate.
Of course. I mean, well, if nothing else, thank you for stocking such wonderful wine.
Oh, well, it's my pleasure. I serve what they bring, and when they don't bring what I know I'll get tipped for, I bring the rest.
Smart work.
You know, best way to keep a good train ride is to keep the customers happy.
Indeed.
You always gotta trust a man who knows his tools.
So they say. Well, if you can top me off, Tristan, I think it's time to retire to the sleeper car.
Okay. He'll go ahead and top off your glass. And it finishes off that bottle. And he'll open another one and top off Esme's. And then he'll cork it and hand it to you. Or offer it to you.
I will certainly take it.
Congratulations, by the way.
Gracias. I look forward to a long, happy life together.
I am hopeful that you see that and many interesting things.
It's all one could want from this life. And I look over to the boys and I'm like, well, I will be in my car if you wish to speak some more.
Something tells me that you two should have a good night.
I like where his mind is.
I mean, if you're inviting me.
I would not take that as an invitation, Capitan. I'm sure there are plenty of people around who require your certain charms.
Require.
I'm sure it is a irresistible prowess to many.
No finger quotes this time, please.
Esme was not being sarcastic. She was trying to build you back up after that.
That was not Clint saying require.
uh,
Well, adios. Have a good night. If you need us, you know where to find us. And if the Contessa comes by, make sure to let her know that I would like to speak.
so the two of you head back to the sleeper car. Nothing out of the ordinary. You'll still see Katerina, and she kind of smiles and gives you a nod. She is not fidgeting with her pocket watch anymore.
Very interesting. I will just courteous nod also. As I lead the way towards the sleeper cars. Oh, just keeping an eye out. You never know what's happening.
Okay.
I don't know. Before we end up in the sleeper car.
Excellent. Back to the bar.
Well, Captain, I'm inclined to stay up the rest of the night.
I am not tired at the moment either. You said you weren't much of a gambler before, but are you any good at cards, Clint?
Not especially. I have too many tells. But I'm game for playing.
Tristan? It's not like you have much to do at the moment.
If we can play at the bar and I don't have to lose all my money, I'm up for a friendly game.
Yeah, let's just play a friendly game. Nothing, no wager, no nothing. We'll just play with pretend money. If anything, we could use Prussian money, but we don't have any.
That's close enough to pretend. But you didn't hear that from me. As you're playing cards at the bar, a couple of hands go by, and people start to kind of wander in. One of which is Lady Maribel, who will try and get the attention of Clint. Tristan will actually, he reaches down, and you're not sure what he does, but it doesn't take very long. And the server that you saw before enters into the car and starts attending to the tables as he keeps his focus with the two of you and anyone that actually bellies up to the bar.
Must be some sort of mechanism.
It's a very state-of-the-art train.
So I've seen. Pretty good locks on your luggage compartments.
They are trying to be as high-tech as possible.
Who does your inventory? Not yours specifically, but who monitors what comes on and off the cargo?
It's usually Frederick who does that. You know, this was his 6th or 7th track. So he's relatively new, but not as of this trip. Not like the other guy.
If someone wanted to have a conversation with Frederick, where would they go to find him?
He should be in those cars. That's his post.
He wasn't there earlier.
Well, that's problematic.
What does this Frederick look like?
Tall fellow, about your height, maybe a little shorter. Sandy blonde hair, brown, hazel green eyes, mustache.
Have not seen a Frederick.
That description would be familiar to Von Brent as the younger of the two conductors that came in to scoop all the hedgehogs up.
Oh, him. I've seen him. I've seen him before, just not in the luggage compartment.
Maybe there was some more fallout from the hedgehogs than we thought.
Probably. Is it a normal occurrence that two conductors switch places during a trip?
Yeah, if something comes up, we try to cover for each other on this train as much as possible. Michael, the server over there, he's kind of a do-it-all. He helps out with loading people's luggage. He helps out with delivering in the dining car or here, wherever he's needed. Kind of floats. So they may do that amongst the conductors. I really don't talk to Rolf too much, though, because he's always grumpy. He doesn't seem to like that I'm critical of some of his inventory decisions. Cheap wine means cheap tips. Especially when we go through France. You'd think if we can stop anywhere in the south of France and find good wine at the source, why not buy it at cost and sell it at a markup and have happier customers? But no. He's a company man, so he goes through the company distributors, and they don't give us the best.
You know the people who count coin are the worst at spending it.
Mm-hmm. And that sums up Ralph pretty much to a T.
Well, what do you think, Captain Von Brandt? Did that seem like a good gambit, switching places?
Seems to me that if you know that everyone covers for everyone here, switching places is easy.
What does this Nate fellow look like that you can recall?
He was helping us load some footlockers that came on and some of the wine that I was bringing on. Skinny fellow. Dark hair, dark eyes, a little bit of an accent, probably either Bayern, maybe Prussia. But it wasn't very thick. I could just barely pick up on it. So either he's not from there or he hides it well.
Clint will put down his hand. Yeah, that's the play. I think you'll find when you make your next stop, you're missing a conductor.
Well, that might be why I haven't seen Rolf or Frederick in a while. If they're short-handed, Rolf is probably having a fit, which means Frederick's doing all the work.
Maybe we should have a talk with Rolf and let him know what happened. What do you think?
I think that's a good idea, but maybe we should wait till morning.
Sure.
A hand goes onto your shoulder, Clint.
Clint will slowly turn towards where the hand is coming from.
And a voice whispers in your ear as you start to turn that direction and says, I can keep you occupied till morning. It's Lady Maribel.
I bust out my saxophone.
Clint leans in just a bit and says, I'm sure you could, but the temptation is worth waiting for. Why don't we meet up again tomorrow?
Oh. You're going to play hard to get.
Sometimes the things that are worth having are worth waiting for.
I guess so.
And Clint will put some money on the bar. Whatever she wants for the rest of the evening.
Quite the gentleman. I like that.
You have discerning taste.
That I do. She gives your shoulder a little squeeze.
Well, I think I should go speak with Miss Katerina before she turns in.
Would I be jealous?
Only if you're jealous of work.
Actually, I'm never jealous of anybody. Just curious what you thought.
Clint looks very nonplussed.
Sure. Kind of. I'm assuming you make your leave at that point.
Clint does grab his hat.
Okay. She'll kind of sigh, give you a wink as you walk away. And then she turns to Captain Von Brunt and says, do you have any other ladies you need to run off to?
Oh, I'm here all night.
Oh, good. And she sits down on the stool that Clint just left.
And your name is? I'm afraid I didn't get it.
You can call me Lady Maribel.
Lady Maribel, you can call me Captain Von Brunt.
Mouthful. I like it.
You'll
And
see
at
I'm more than a
that-
mouthful.
With that look on your face, we're going to move back to Esme and Selena. You reach the sleeper car. And as you do, you'll notice that you have to pass by the Contessa's car, and you hear conversation going on in there. There's nothing that's gone, like, your car is perfectly fine. Esme unlocks it and goes inside. Do you follow Esme, or are you going to try and listen at the door?
I am going to listen at the door just to see who is in there.
Okay. You pick up two distinct voices, and you recognize both of them. One is the Contessa, the other is Father Korsakov.
It would be Father Korsakov. I will knock on the door, and I will say into the door that when your conversation is over, I would like to have a conversation with you two. It is good to hear you, Father. We will be in the sleeper car. Just knock first. And I will leave it at that.
Okay. Is there any conversation that you want to have with Esme or anything there to wrap up that scene? Or are we fading to black with the newlyweds?
I will have a conversation with her. Because it is the first time she sees me as a lady detective.
Mm-hmm.
In this capacity, at least. And so, as we get in and we start just removing our like business attire, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
I will conversate with her and say, well, what did you think of today?
Very interesting. The stories you tell are more concise. There's a lot more that seems to go on.
Well, I mean, you have to keep some mystery, no?
True, but you know I love the details. Like this, and she kind of like waggles the cane at you and then produces the cloth. She sniffs that and says, smell that. Do you smell that chemical on there? It's not gunpowder, but it ignites. It reminds me of a machine that was used to like cut through metal that your parents had. You told me about it once. The gentleman that I worked for got a chance to see it in action when they were showing it off to the public.
Really? And I will go in and smell it again with that new added context. And it does smell similar, right?
Absolutely. It smells very much like what they called a, now what did they call it? The Hellfire torch. It can cut through the strongest of metals.
Interesting. I didn't realize it was so widespread already. It certainly does. I guess, as they say, crime never sleeps.
That's true.
A nifty idea, though, putting into Nicaine. Easy access.
Yeah. Would have been only one use and then done. I mean, you couldn't have put that whole machine in there.
No,
So,
but sometimes all you need is one.
mhm.
Interesting. Well, now we know not to trust any accessory anyone has. It seems that everyone hides everything and everything nowadays.
Well, that's what makes them interesting, isn't it? What they hide rather than what they show or display.
Yeah, you're, as always, very wise. I wonder, however, what else there is here. Now knowing that the father is here and that the theories were correct, I wonder what these ancient Cthulhians. Wow, that is not an easy thing to say with that accent. I wonder what is afoot. I know that I told you Father Korsakov went off on the second night just to go stop somebody with immortality, which honestly at the time I thought was bullshit. But now with this new added context, it is interesting that somebody would actually go and try to achieve it.
People have been chasing immortality since millennia ago. I mean, the pharaohs of Egypt.
You think all these years that humans have existed and the Fae have existed, that they would have discovered that it's really the journey that makes life a life, not the longevity.
And you call me the wise one.
Well, you know, I only learn from the best. And with that, we can start fading to black.
Okay. And the honeymoon continues.
And the honeymoon continues.
So, back at the bar,
Yep.
because we're going to end with Clint and Lady Katerina. You got quite a line, Von Brandt. What direction would Von Brandt like to take the rest of his evening?
Well, I bet Lady Maribel has a sleeping car somewhere.
That she does.
'Cause I don't. So
If you play your cards right.
Well, that's it. So I'm gonna play a card to get into her sleeping car.
Okay.
I bank everything on my comeliness
Okay.
that I have great at. So
That's hearts.
yeah, hearts.
Well, just so you know, because she got rebuffed once, she's going to lean right into that and come back with her charisma. And the two of you aren't really competing for anything other than who gets to have the best euphemism as you make your way to her sleeping car.
That's my kind of person.
Because she's not about to be told no twice.
It's okay. I'm the second choice. I'll live with it.
Has that ever stopped Von Brandt?
Absolutely not.
I was going to say, I don't, that doesn't seem out of character at all for Von Braun. So, the two of you will walk she likes to take her time. She's not rushing you. You think that she actually just wants to show off arm candy, and in this case, it's you.
That's
all
right.
She talks about all manner of things. Whatever you would like to talk about, she engages you in conversation all the way to the sleeper car. Is there anything in particular you'd like to engage her in conversation about before we fade to black?
Honestly, not to ruin the mood, nothing until after the fade to black.
Okay. So we can pick up in the morning with the awkward question?
Yeah.
That works. So then we will move on to the parlor car, where we find Clint and Lady Katerina Gravin.
So, Clint walks in, and I think Clint's probably still carrying a drink in, and
Okay.
he's probably about 4 in at this
Mm-hmm.
point. So he's had about, yeah. So Clint comes in, has a slight swagger, and sits down. Kind of relaxes up, maybe even puts his foot up across the, like, I'm imagining like there are 2 benches kind of facing each other. Puts his foot up against the other bench.
Mm-hmm.
All right. So
what do you make of what we've sent you so far?
what you've sent me so far is a picture and a number.
Mm-hmm.
I've been checking on this train the whole ride. Not sure when I'm supposed to see him.
It's highly unlikely you'll see him on this train. That would be much too easy and far too fortuitous for all parties involved. Was the number to your liking, though?
It's a good number.
Good. I prefer that that's out of the way.
That's the easy part.
Mm-hmm.
The fact that you wanted to meet me beforehand says something, though.
Yes. The gentleman that you seek is not who he appears to be when you meet him. He is currently going by the name of Jürgen Schmidt.
I'm going to need you to spell that.
R-G-E-N. Schmidt. S-C-H-M-I-T.
Okay. And what does Herr Schmidt do? What does he actually look like?
Well, no. Herr Schmidt looks exactly like that photo. But Herr Schmidt is simply a cover. He is masquerading in this current form as a diplomat to Bayern from Austria. He is neither Austrian nor a diplomat. In fact, he's a con man. His goal is to steal secrets that the Hermetic Order of the Golden Dawn can use to gain leverage with the King of Bayern. Rumor has it that he is also planning on undermining some sort of negotiation by the papacy. We haven't heard one way or the other what the Pope has to do with the king, and we haven't heard of any emissaries or trips being made there. We've simply found out through the connections we do have, following and spying in on Mr. Schmidt, that he, that's what he said, that he will stop the papacy from making a successful transaction.
Well, isn't that just interesting?
Why is that?
Oh, nothing you need to know right now, but when I put the pieces together, you'll find out. It doesn't affect the timeline.
Okay. His real name is Hilmar Hetzinger. Hilman. Last surname Hetzinger. Hezinger.
Right.
Mr. Hetzinger is actually a Prussian citizen. His goal, we fear, is much more nefarious than politics, but we can't prove that. And honestly, it's more of an imposition. We currently like the King Bayern.
Chris?
And okay, I thought it was just me.
No, I think it happened to all of us. Chris froze.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
I would like to.
Oh.
Oh, yeah, you froze completely.
Still doing it.
I'm still doing
Again.
it, yeah?
Yeah.
Well, at least he looks dashing in his hat, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I appreciate that. I don't know what's going on, but my connection got really wonky there for a second.
Looks like we're caught up.
Yeah.
Hilmar Hetzinger. Hilmar Hetzinger. He is a Prussian citizen who is currently up to something nefarious. We fear he's trying to assassinate the king of Bayern, but we can't prove that. However, we do want the king of Bayern alive. He's useful to us for now. So, we want you to get to him before he can interfere with whatever this papal thing is that's going on. Any information that you can gather about the papacy and what they're doing, we would pay extra for, as that could be useful.
I'll consider it. I'm not typically a spy. I'm just a cannon.
We understand that, which is why it's not a requirement, but simply a bonus.
All right. I will seriously consider that. As far as any timing, I know that our arrival's in a couple of days. How pressing is this?
We honestly don't have a timeline. We were told it could be as early as next week.
Could be as early as what?
Could be as early as next week. But we have no definite timeline.
All right. I think we can figure things out based on what we find.
Excellent. So, unless there's something else that you need of me, I will be getting off at Geneva.
Might have need of a sleeper car, or a sleeper cabin, I should say.
I'm paid through Munich, so you can have mine.
Much obliged. I was keeping watch out just in case Mr. Schmidt came on train, but since he doesn't seem to be on one of the stops, then I can sleep.
Sounds good. I will have need of it tonight. But
I wouldn't dream of putting
it for me.
Though it doesn't look like you'd need your beauty sleep.
I appreciate that. Your charm does not go unnoticed.
It rarely does.
And on that note, we will close out session 3 of season 2. Thank you to everyone who watched. Thank you to my players. Sorry for the weird glitches there at the end. Simon, take us away to our outro.
Yep. The glitches happen. I mean, it's the internet. What can we do? Thank you everyone for coming. I am Wandering DM. Thank you for watching. Thank you for hanging out in chat. Thank you for watching on YouTube, those of you that watch the VOD. And as always, remember this stream and all of our streams on the channel are sponsored by Magen Press. And if you go to their store at store.magenpress.com, use coupon code WanderingDM, you get 15% off of everything you buy there. Let's go around the table. Tell us where we can find you, what you have going on in your internet lives, and where we can find you. I think I already said that. Oof, I'm starting to get tired. And we'll start with Kenny.
Hi, my name is Kenny. You can find me on Twitter at Punderdrone. On every other Saturday, we stream on Experience Points here on Twitch, our Starfinder game, where we're playing oh my gosh, why can't I think of it? It's an adventure path. It's a great one. PB is involved. And so you should come and watch us do that. We also, if you missed that, but still want to listen, we put out edited podcast versions of that show every Wednesday. If you follow us at EQ Points on Twitter, you can find out all of that lovely information.
Cool. And speaking of PB, hi.
Hi, I'm PB from PB Plays Inside. You can find me on Twitter and Twitch at that name. I do variety streaming on my channel on Tuesdays and Thursdays. Well, we're adding Wednesdays in now. So Tuesdays, Wednesdays, and Thursdays at 6 p.m. Central Standard Time to approximately 9 Central Standard Time. And on Mondays, you can find me over on the Greyhawk channel playing The Grove Where We Met, in which we are a bunch of people who lost their memories, recently got them back, and now we've been told that we need to go protect the door somewhere. So we're out there. We trying. A lot of shenanigans go on in that show, so if you're interested, that's 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, I think, on the Greyhawk channel on Mondays. And on Fridays, I'm here. And on Saturdays, you can find me over on Experience Points playing. Is it Dawn of Fire? Dawnbringer?
Dawn of Flame.
Dawn of Flame.
Yes.
Dawn of Flame. The Dawn of Flame adventure path of Starfinder. It's a ton of fun. You could totally go check that out at 12 noon Central Standard Time on the Experience Points channel. Yeah. And aside from that, I am good. It might not be 12. I don't know. My phone tells me that it is. My phone tells me. So, I'm a millennial. I run through a schedule on my calendar on my phone. But yeah, thank you guys for all of that.
Cool. And last but not least, Chris, where can we find you?
My name is Chris Geary. You can find me on Twitter at Chris Geary, as you see in the handle below my dashing hat. You can also find me here every Friday night as the host of Adventures in Castle Falkenstein. And right now we're on a hiatus. The Shattered Eye is on hiatus for the month of August, but we are looking to pick back up again in September. So you can follow me on Twitter to find out more about that.
Cool. And before we leave, I should have that. Taking a break for like 2 weeks was a lot. I have to try to get back into it, and now all of my streaming reflexes are gone.
Simon,
go.
where can we find you?
You can find me here. You can find me here. At Wandering DM or at Wandering_DM on Twitter. We stream 4 days a week here, or I stream 4 days a week. On Mondays on Role Players, on Tuesdays we play Dark Matter here, on Friday we play Castle Falkenstein, and on Saturday we play Vampire the Masquerade. Though there will not be a vampire game tomorrow, we'll be back next week for Vampire the Masquerade. Thank you, Kenny. My head is just gone. Before we leave, let's go raid our good friend Jess at Little Cup of Joe. And say hi as they're playing something unpronounceable. What's it called? Omori High School Ghost Club. So let's go and spread the love, and we will see you again next week. Ciao, everyone.